Yo! Welcome to another episode. Coming at you at chooseyourrelationships.com. Author of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. Another one. I'm the real DJ Khaled. You dig? So like and share the episode, man. You know. And we're gonna do like we always do. You know. And P.S. by the way, I don't know if you saw this interview with Shannon Sharp and Brittany Renner, but it actually was a good interview, believe it or not. Now I think Brittany, I think she's crazy as cat shit, but I understand why she is the way she is, based on the story she told, her upbringing and how she grew up and everything. Now I understand why she is the way she is. This makes total sense now. I kind of felt sorry for her a little bit, because we don't get to choose our parents. We don't get to choose the people that raise us. You know what I'm saying? So, she was raised by her grandmother. Her mom was white and her dad was black. And, they from Mississippi. And you know what? Funny thing is, well, it's not funny, but she went to Jackson State. I didn't know that. Which, that kind of makes sense too, because Coach Prime invited her to speak at Jackson State when he was coaching there. So now that I look back at it, that kind of makes sense. I don't know if it was a coincidence. I don't know. But she attended Jackson State at one point, and Coach Prime wanted her to speak the football team or whatever. I guess he was trying to give her some. I don't know where Prime. I don't even know if Prime. What motivated Prime to want her to speak? To be honest, I don't know if he wanted to say, "Hey, be careful of women like her," or he's thinking, "Listen to her, so you can stay away from women like her." I don't really know what the motivation was, but and he never did say, at least not on camera anyway. So I thought that was interesting, But unfortunately, I know I've met quite a few women, and I still know them that's very similar to Brittany Renner. Women like her they're not special. They come dime a dozen, really. They're just not on social media. That's, all the women that I know that's like Brittany, they're not on social media. They but they have a lot of the same habits or whatever, And a lot of these women that have a black and white parent, they have what we call dual allegiance. It's kind of like a lot of these people that have black and white parents, they have like a little complex going on. On one side of the coin, they don't really want to associate with their black side of the family for whatever reason. A lot of times they think they're better than their black siblings, or they're doing better in some type of way. And it's not like Because even Brittany said in the interview that black people are the most open and inviting and welcoming people. And she's 100% right. Yeah, black American people, we're the most easy on and welcoming and everything. She's 100% right when she said that. However, if that's the case, if that's true, how come you got a lot of black and white so-called kids that grow up that have problems with the black side of the family? They got all these they got all these problems with the black side of the family. They act like their black side of the family don't accept them. And that's not true. Now, on that white side of the family, oh, that's where things get a little different there. Oh, yeah. Because you got old Uncle Bill over there and Uncle Chad on the white side of the family. And hey, grandpa and grandma ain't gonna really, they'll accept you as you are because it ain't your fault. You didn't pick your parents. So grandpa and grandma, they ain't gonna give you a hard time if you got a white parent, you know. They'll be like, oh, come on, man. That's my grandchild. And she didn't ask to be here. So, it's all good. But the rest of your cousins and your uncles and your aunts on that white side of the family, they feel a certain type of way. And it's never gonna change. You know what I'm saying? It's never gonna change. And that's where a lot of the confusion amongst these kids that have a black and a white parent comes from. It's like they're trying to find themselves, but they might never find themselves. And in the meantime, in between time, they have relationships with people. They have boyfriends, husbands and everything. And a lot of their problems come from, they have identity problems. They don't know who they are. They don't in most cases. They start, and a lot of them don't want to be associated with the black side of their family. And this is a big one because they look at black American people like, I don't want to be associated with y'all because look at what's going on with black people in America and look at what the cops is doing to us and we're being mistreated and there's no justice and and on and on and on. That has a lot to do with why they try to disassociate themselves with their black side of the family, but at the same time, the white side of their family don't accept them either. So it's like being in between a rock and a hard place. So they play that game and try to act like they're like, I'm half this and half that. But if I didn't know, if Brittany didn't say she was mixed, or if Brittany didn't say she had a white parent, I would have never known. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same for the other kids that I know. When we were in school or college, if they didn't say they had a white parent, I would have never known. They brought it up in most cases because they want to kind of disassociate themselves, So they won't say that. In most cases, they won't say that they're black. They'll say, "Oh, I'm half Jamaican or half Swedish, or you know, or or if the damn if she's one of them, he or she, but these are mostly women that I know. If she's one of them types of women that them herbal tea types, she might start talking about, oh, I'm not black, I'm a reptilian or some shit like that, like she's an alien or some silly shit like that. These are this is how far some of these mixed kids go. They go to that extent to disassociate themselves from being associated with black people in America. They'll say they're a fucking alien, a reptilian or some shit like that. There's a girl online on YouTube right now. I'm not going to say who she is, but she be online talking about she's a reptilian, a fucking alien, and my black side, the black people say I ain't black enough, and her white family don't accept her either. You know what I'm saying? So now I would say she's an educated woman, right? To a certain extent. But she ain't really as smart, because this broad got 2 kids and ain't no man around. So you got all this knowledge that you be sharing online, and you can't get your shit together. You can't get your relationship together. You can't get your life on track. So how smart are you really? You know what I'm saying? Oh, she got her hair, she dyed her hair blonde recently, and she's a couple I think like a year ago, well, not even a year ago, a couple months ago, she was online crying, having a nervous breakdown because they were deleting her videos, and they was about to delete her. I think they did delete her channel. One of them, they deleted one of her channels, and she was on YouTube crying, talking about she's being targeted and acting like somebody was coming to get her or some shit like that. Like the boogeyman was coming to get her or some shit like that. Now she's back on YouTube talking about how the black people say I ain't black enough, and because they don't like what I be saying or whatever. And I said, well, it probably has something to do with your approach. Your approach that makes a difference. If you come off, you come off the wrong way, some black people let you have it. So it's that type of shit. And then you got a lot of these mixed kids, man, they're disrespectful sometimes. That's another thing. Now when they're talking to white people, they're on their P's and Q's, and they're very respectable. But when it comes to the black people, some of these kids are very disrespectful, man. And I witnessed this. I've seen this in person. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the problems that a lot of these kids have, they bring it on themselves. Sometimes what you give off is what you get back. You know what I'm saying? Like when Brittany was on Shannon Sharp's being interviewed, she was loud. Shannon Sharp was trying to give her some game, saying, hey, don't be telling your body count. how many guys you slept with. And she didn't care. Everything was just put it out there. Who cares? Or whatever. There's some guy that's gonna be cool with it. How do you know? How do you know some guy's gonna be cool with your body count? And I'm not saying 35 is a lot, but it's every guy ain't gonna be cool with that. Every guy, you don't have to put all your business out to the public, to the world. My parents used to tell me, your business should stay inside your house. Everybody don't got to know how many guys you done lay up with or how many women you done lay up with. But there's some people, they don't understand that. And she's one of them. I would, I would be interested to see how she would act if she was on one of these white platforms being interviewed. Because every time I seen her being interviewed on these black platforms, she's acting a goddamn fool. But the interview was good. You would, I don't follow Brittany, but I think if you follow her on Twitter or Instagram, you would have a better understanding how she came to be, and and her story and how she went to Jackson State, and some of the stuff she was saying, it was very interesting, but she strikes me as someone she's very disrespectful towards most black people, I would say, because she was making it seem like she grew up in an all-white town, which is believable, in Mississippi, where it wasn't no black people there. It was a handful of black people there, and the majority were whites. And then when she went to Jackson State, it was kind of like a culture shock because it flip-flopped. The majority were black, right? And with all these black people at Jackson State, she just happened to date the white guy. The white guy was a quarterback at Jackson State. And she said the white quarterback at Jackson State helped her with fitness, got her started and everything. But that relationship ended up, it didn't last because he had a girlfriend at home or some shit like that. So it's very interesting how 1 minute you say it was a culture shock for you, but the first white man you see, you jump on top of him. That's very interesting how that happens. It was very interesting. It was like, so she's so basically doing the interview, she was kind of all over the place telling her story. It was like, it was a good interview. It's hilarious too. Some of the parts of the interview, I was laughing because this shit is funny. This shit is hilarious, But I didn't think 30. I was kind of surprised when she said 35, when she said she was with 35 guys. And she actually kept counting that shit, which I was surprised at that too. A lot of these women, females, they don't be keeping counting nothing. They just be doing the most. But believe it or not, I don't think 35 guys is a lot in this day and time. I don't think so. That's just my opinion. If you know how these women be getting it in out here, 35 is not a lot, you know. And Shannon Sharp, he's an athlete. He used to play football. He know 35 ain't a lot. Because, man, let me tell you something. Them football players, they be getting it in, boy. Being an athlete, football, basketball, baseball, man, it's a different world, man. When it comes to them women be throwing it at them guys. So, if a woman that's been around them circles, around them athletes, say she been with 35 guys and she's only 31, that ain't that bad. Hey, man, them girls be getting train ran on them. The whole football team be taking turns. That's how they be getting down. So if a woman that went to a 4-year school, graduated, now she's 31, and she hadn't had 35 bodies, that ain't bad. Being around them athletes, like for real. And most of them bodies she probably got, most of them she probably got when she was in college. Believe it or not. Most of them bodies she got when she probably was in college. And when she's in college, ain't no telling what them dudes, them dudes be doing all kind of wild shit to these women in college. Especially them white dudes. You know, because, you know, a lot of these white guys have a little fetish when it comes to non-white women anyway. Especially the black woman. The white guys can get one of them women that's from Kenya or some shit like that. Or a woman like Brittany, shit, they be experimenting. You know, they put it in all the holes. I'm telling you. That's usually how it goes, especially when it comes to them athletes. Yeah. The athletes is just like a different, being around them athletes is like a different world, man. I went to college with a lot of athletes. That's how I know how it is. I know what happens behind the scenes. You know, it's like, it's different, boy, being a football player or basketball player, especially if you're one of the top guys on the team, especially if you're like highly recruited. Oh man, boy, you ain't gonna be able to walk the streets. You ain't gonna be able to walk around like normal if you're like star player or you're that dude on the team. Top, you ain't gonna be able to walk. You ain't gonna be able to walk the streets, man. You know, you ain't gonna be able to walk around without people. Hey, let me get a picture, man. Hey, what's up, man? You know, it's gonna be all of that and some. Then women gonna be throwing their panties or, you know, or making passes at you, doing all kind of crazy wild shit. You know, now for the average guy that ain't never seen it or had the experience like that, this is far-fetched. This is out of this world. It's like, you know, that can't be true. A woman would take her panties off and put it in your hand. Yeah. It happens. If the women is doing that to these entertainers on stage, they throwing panties on the stage with some of these entertainers. If they're doing it to the entertainers on the stage, you know they'll do it on the college campus. That's easy access. You know, so it's that type of wild shit. You got, you know, a lot of these women, they be wilding on these college campuses. Man, if a lot of parents knew what their kid was doing on these college campuses, man, they would take them out if they really knew what was going on. But a lot of them do know what's going on because a lot of them, they went to college too. So they know what they did when they went to college. Partied, got high, drunk, you know, got smashed. So they know what they did when they went to college. So they don't even ask their kids what they doing when they go to college. They might be afraid to ask, you know. But yeah, even Shannon Sharp, he know what time it is. He was just kind of acting for the camera, you know, drinking his drink, drinking his drink, you know. He was being hilarious, but he know what time it is. Plus, he went to HBCU. He went to well, both of them went to HBCU. He went to Savannah State. I went down to Savannah State a couple of times to visit. I know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's. But when it comes to these athletes, man, it's a different world, man. I'm telling you. You know, when I first went to college, man, I was green. I didn't know no better. You know, I didn't I was like, you know, like I was like a lot of people when I went to college. I was like, you know, I'm gonna just go to college and you know, get an education or whatever and study and stay focused or whatever. But boy, I tell you, when I went to college, when I got there, boy, it's a different world. Boy, I'm like, what the hell? How the hell am I supposed to stay focused with all this shit going on like this? You know? and I had a hard time. My first let's say my first year going to college. You know, because I went to HBCU too. I went to South Carolina State. I went to HBCU. That was the first college I went to. You know, I had a hard time, mainly because I didn't have a car. Yeah, I said it. I didn't have a car. You know, so I was walking, and you know, everywhere I was walking everywhere, catching a cab or whatever, or riding with other people. And I didn't have the privilege of riding with other people very often. What I would say is this: I had money though. I had money. See, most of the other kids at the time, they didn't have no money. I'm talking like pocket money. I'm not talking about a credit card or a debit card. No, it wasn't a lot of credit cards out back then like it is today. By the way, you know, I had cash money, and I had the money, and they had the car, and they had the girls. So that's where you know, I fit in. I fit in perfectly. I had the money. They were broke. So I used to give them gas money so we could go to the parties and shit. And they were hooking me up with the girls. And they would, you know, they would hook me up with a ride. Because at times I need to go to the store to get some food, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? So they would pick me up to go to the parties and all that shit or whatever. And we would have a good time. And that's when I realized that, man, the way I was doing this thing, like talking to girls when I was in high school, was the wrong way, man. I'm approaching this thing wrong. I wasn't going about it the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, when I was in high school, I thought you had to have a nice car and have some money and had the you had the best clothes and all that shit. Hell no. Man, I went to college. These dudes ain't had no money. Most of these dudes ain't had no money. Some of these dudes barely had clothes to put on. Some of these dudes barely had clothes to put on. They ain't had no car either. Most of these guys had no car and no money. They still got the girls. And most of these athletes, they weren't no top players. They just made the team. And a lot of them wasn't even starting. And they were smashing all the girls. and once I started hanging around them, once I started associate myself with them, I got the girls too. Yeah, I got the girls too, man. And this shit went on for what? I was at South Carolina State for like a year. And I had to get the hell up out of there. They fucked me over with the damn classes. They tried to charge me for summer classes, and I never took summer classes. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get up out of there. It was one of those things where I couldn't prove that I didn't owe the money. And then, even though I walked my paperwork all the way to the president, and he ended up lying, and when I went back home, they sent me another bill in the mail saying that I owed money, and of course I didn't owe. So either you pay up or you can't come back no more. So of course I ended up not going back, and I end up having to pay my balance through state taxes back in the day. So based on me not being able to go back to South Carolina State, I ended up going in the Navy. And that was the best decision that was like a blessing in disguise, kind of. Because when I went in the Navy, that really showed me how all of this shit worked, how the whole world worked, how this country worked, how the world worked, how things get done, what really happens behind the scenes. There's some things I can talk about that you've never heard before. I've never seen it in a book. I never seen nobody talk about it on television. The only people that I can talk to about it are people that's been in the military. And most of the stuff that I know, if I talk to a person that's never been in the military, they're going to think I'm a liar. I don't know. You don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. So, so that's so when I went when I went in the Navy, it was kind of like a culture shock, kind of, because I realized that everything that I learned from the age of 17 to 21, none of that shit works. None of it. None of that shit works from the age of 17 to 21. And you probably had the same or similar experience, because a lot of stuff that I was taught growing up, mainly in the school systems, none of that shit worked out for me. None of that shit worked out for me. Yeah. As a matter of fact, when I went to college, I was like, yo, I didn't learn shit in high school. I didn't want to learn shit in high school because I ended up going to like my first semester, I ended up going to private school for like one semester. And then I transferred to South Carolina State. You know, when I went to that private school for that one semester, I was like, this shit is hard. And then probably at the end of that semester, I said that to somebody. I said, this school, this is a hard school. These classes are very hard and difficult. I have to study. See, when I was in high school, I never studied, but I still got good grades though. That's the thing. When I went to college, I had to study like for real. And I told one of my classmates, this shit is hard, yo. And he told me most private schools and religious schools are hard. And junior colleges are hard. And he told me most four-year colleges are easy. And I didn't even know that. So when I transferred from that private school to South Carolina State, that shit was easy. I didn't have to study no more. It was like a cakewalk. All that shit was easy. You know, I mean, I couldn't believe it, to be honest. But all that shit was easy, man. Really. And the a lot of those professors, they don't give a shit. You know, either you get it the first time or you don't. You have to come back, afterwards. And that's when I started hanging around the football players when I got to South Carolina State. You know, that's when I started. When I got to South Carolina State, I was like, yo, this is like a different world when it comes to these athletes. You know, they different. And when I went in the Navy, I just took it to the next level. You know, it's kind of like going from the pros in college and going in the Navy was like, oh, I'm international now. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was. It's like there's different levels to this shit, man. That's a lot of people like to use that cliche statement, but it's really true. There's different levels to this shit out here. Regardless of where you at, your profession or your area of expertise, there's always going to be people that's vibing on a different level. You know, that's just what it is. There's always going to be somebody that's better than you. Always. They might not be older than you, but they might have been around longer than you. They might do something different than you, a tad bit different from you. So everybody's unique in their own little way. You know, there's no carbon copy of you. Now, even though I know they be trying to clone motherfuckers out here, but no one has, they can try to clone people all you want or whatever, clone the dog or whatever. But they don't have souls. A robot don't have souls, have a soul. You know what I'm saying? They can't clone a spirit. You know? You got a lot of these a lot of AI software development out here. But AI can copy your voice to the best of their ability, but it still ain't you. You know what I'm saying? It's that's all I'm saying. But I highly recommend you go check out the interview with Shannon Sharp and Brittany. It's a good interview. Parts of it is funny, you know. Some of it is hilarious. But I've met quite a few women that's like Brittany. Now, does she look good? Oh yeah, she's a good-looking woman. She's a good-looking female, no doubt about it. But would I take her serious? No, no, I wouldn't take her serious. Now, would she probably be fun to hang around? Maybe. You know, I don't know her. I've never seen her before. But a lot of these types of females like her, they have identity problems. You don't really know which direction they're gonna go. You don't know if they're coming or going. Every guy has met a woman that's confused. They have like identity issues or whatever. A lot of women in South America are like this. They have like identity problems. They think they're Spanish. But if you take a woman that's from the DR and you send her, if she take a vacation to Spain, they ain't fucking with them like that. But like, somebody in Spain like, hey, you don't take your black ass back to the Dominican Republic. So it's that type of vibe. All them people from South America, if they go on a vacation to Spain one weekend, man, they'd be like, if you don't get your black ass away from me, speak English. I don't know what you're saying in Spanish. It'll be like that type of shit. That's the confusion that's running rapid in that neck of the woods in South America. It's that type of vibe. Y'all say everything else. Oh, I'm Spanish. Like, no, you're not. I'm white. No, you're not. It's that type of shit. They want to be Anglo so bad. It's that type of shit. Or whatever. And you trying to get to know somebody that's like this, with that mentality. How's that gonna work? How's that? How do you sustain a long-term relationship with somebody that, if you have kids with them, and if the kids come out dark skinned, they got a problem with that. If the kid has white phenotypes, they happy with that. But if the kids have phenotypes, if the kids have heavy features, like I do, or maybe you do, they got a problem with that. How do you sustain a relationship with somebody that think like this? Or maybe the person you dating use bleaching cream. How do you sustain a long-term relationship with somebody that they don't love themselves? They got a problem with how they look. They don't like what they see when they look in the mirror. They putting on skin bleaching cream. In all these countries. It's in South America, Asia, continent of Africa. Skin bleaching cream is what, a top seller worldwide. So if you're talking to a woman that has problem with her identity, how do you sustain a relationship with somebody that's like that? You don't. That relationship has to end at some point. Because if you're talking to somebody and they don't know who they are, it's impossible for you to get to know them. Oh, they might know you, but you're not going to be able to know them. They're going to be all over the place. All over the place mentally. Probably physically too. Yeah, so So that's just how it is, man. You got to know who you are, love yourself. And I always say, nobody loves me much more than me. Nobody loves me more than me, man. I'm telling you. Nobody, people think they love me more. No, no, no. Nobody loves me more than me. And nobody cares about me more than me. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. And it's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be that way. I like what I see when I look in the mirror. From head to toe. From head to toe. I like what I see when I look in the mirror. I like what I see when I take my clothes off. You know, I like what I see when I take my clothes off and I'm in the bed with a woman. And hopefully she likes it too. Because if she don't like what she see when we naked, the next bitch will. I'm out. Peace.